Good evening. Our top story this week. In Los Angeles, California, CPS agents go on strike demanding lower caseloads because they can't handle the job and because they want more money. And with 2/3 of Los Angeles CPS agents joining in, LA County CPS boss is asking them all to stop this shenanigans and get back to work. In Massachusetts, a report is released that finds that 249 foster kids had been abused in the state over the last year. In Michigan, the Attorney General is appealing an order giving juvenile lifers the chance for parole. In Connecticut, a federal audit finds that background checks for foster parents are inadequate. And psychiatric drug treatment for teenagers finally levels off in the United States, with 6% of American teens taking them. In depth this week, Arizona Governor Jan Brewer is taking heat from the system sucks for the child protective industry's failure to investigate over 6,000 child abuse reports since 1999. So she creates a 10-person team to look into these uninvestigated reports. And while the public is supposedly given the opportunity to spout off on the issue, it turns out that they are hearing mostly from the CPS agents, foster care providers, and system sucks who say that more money is the solution to the current fiasco. Although one woman complains to the committee about how she ratted somebody out but never heard back from them, an editorial warns Arizona not to start playing the blame game because when they do, that's when CPS reform fails. And CPS is told to punish only those responsible for the mess. 5 CPS supervisors are put on leave, and they still won't solve the problem of child abuse. Santa Clara County, California's child protective industry has Arizona's failures beat by a landslide, as nearly half of all calls to the child protective hotline went unanswered. Missouri also has hundreds of uninvestigated cases that they're trying to work through. And in New Jersey, a grandmother is suing CPS for failing to protect her grandson before he ended up with brain damage, and after she spent 5 weeks trying to get them to look into it, only to be told by a CPS supervisor to stop calling. In China this week, a mother is fined 14 times her yearly wage for having a second child, and until she pays, the child has no access to basic rights like schooling or health care. In India, a father-to-be is seeking protection of his unborn baby from his runaway wife. The owner of an Indian orphanage gets life in jail for sexually brutalizing and starving 18 children. In Ireland, 10 children in state care are placed abroad because they don't have enough homes for all the kids they've been snatching. Russia launches a criminal investigation into the illegal trafficking of children who were adopted by U.S. citizens through the rehoming websites where some of the kids ended up being sexually abused. And Pope Francis sets up a committee to fight child sex abuse in the Catholic Church, which critics say would be toothless. In Canada, an Indigenous woman is suing in Ontario after being snatched by CPS with lots of others in what is being referred to as the 60 scoop. In Newfoundland, the child advocate is blasting the government for not helping a kid before he started a fire in a rooming house. In Alberta, a teenager is suing after being raped in a foster home by the biological son of the foster parents. In Montreal, a real mother who is desperate to get her baby back is suing after getting knocked up and then dumped by her caseworker. And a Vancouver foster parent is accused of making and dealing child porn. In Australia, 2 kids sue the child protective industry for stealing them from their parents for smoking marijuana. In England, evil social workers are defending the child protective industry's decision to force a woman to have a cesarean so that they didn't have to wait until the kid was born to put it up for adoption, while the real mother who has made a full recovery from her nervous breakdown fights tooth and nail to get him back. British foster parents are being treated unfairly by local governments, and a new report sympathizes with British social workers regarding how stressful their jobs are and how much pressure they are under. In entertainment news this week, idiots want a comedian's baby taken away after he posts a how to fight a baby video on YouTube. And Denise Richards has to meet with the CPS agents over abuse allegations made by Charlie Sheen's other ex, Brooke Mueller. In California, the sentencing of a foster mother for the beating death of a 2-year-old girl is postponed while the defense attorney considers filing motions with the court. In Colorado, a CPS agent is in trouble for strip searching a 15-year-old girl who she was investigating for child abuse. In Florida, a school principal is in trouble for failure to report child abuse. And in New Mexico, a kid pleads guilty to killing her foster mother. In Nevada, a hearing is held for a judge who is accused of hearing cases with a prosecutor who he was dating. A Las Vegas foster mother enters a plea in a case where she is accused of leaving a 2-year-old with a man who badly injured him. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a child social worker who contracted for the court is charged with lewd behavior after getting caught masturbating in his office while watching pornography. And in Georgia, 2 CPS agents who are caught falsifying documents gets their jobs back. In New York, a real mother is suing a judge for taking too long to decide her custody case. In California, police are on the hunt for for a real mother who rescued her kids from a foster home. In Washington, police are searching for a 5-month-old baby who was taken by his real father from CPS agents. And the Washington State Court of Appeals rules that a lower court can't deny a deported father custody of his kids after he had met all criteria set by CPS agents. In Hawaii, a class action is filed on behalf of foster parents who want more money. In Ohio, an Amish family is forced into hiding to avoid a court-ordered chemotherapy treatments for their daughter. And finally tonight, in Texas, a white teenage girl is taken by CPS agents after she was caught traveling with her black dance instructors who were given temporary guardianship of her. For these stories and all the latest dirt on the child protective industry, visit www.legallykidnapped.com. And until next week, this is Baby LK. Over and out.